So nice one, and let's just see. Let's just see. Thanks very much, by the way, to everybody who has already been taking part in the chitter chatter. I'm just jumping on over towards Tezos versus USD, and we have this line coming in now, and you can see that we're challenging it in a way that we haven't been challenging it on on the other charts. If you position it in a way that allows you to make that argument. Of course, you could make the other argument and you could reposition this as such. Now, what you would require for this to make sort of a degree of sense would be for this to turn into being a wick towards the downside, simply wicking off this as we've seen in the past. Otherwise, we can just kind of bear this price point in mind, really, as being a key area for us. And we already spoke about it several times in the past. What price was that? Well, of course, it's the handy number of 2 to the 2 to the 2 to the 2 to the 2. 2.2 spot if you work in banks and you want to talk like that. 2 2 2 2 2 2 2. Okay, so if we go past 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2, that's twos, all the twos. Let me just be very clear here. 2.222222222. Then of course things aren't looking that fantastic for us in terms of the structure here. Now we have this pitchfork in the background showing us that of course if you move down past that you could be coming back up again if you don't take out 217 etc, for instance, down below us. Now of course we have a few other areas to look to. Our previous lows coming in at around about that $2 area, and there are various other fairly obvious things that we could point out to kind of put the destruction on that message. But what we do know in terms of where we are right now is we're below the 236 Fibonacci retracement point that we want to be above at 230, and we're just above the 2 price point here, having found our lows so far today down there at, lo and behold, 2. So you might remember that we talked about that number. I think that's probably fairly lodged in your mind by this stage, and we can dive over to a different USDT chart to remind ourselves that in terms of how we pull back so far, we've actually done quite a significant job coming back down towards this 618 and not having taken out in terms of our wicks the downside with these significant previous low areas, but we certainly have in terms of the body. Now we haven't moved, we haven't actually closed today out, but just casting our eyeballs over to the left. You can see that we are currently below that 24 area. So if you want to be moving towards the top side, got to be taking out that 24 area and perhaps 28 where that 236 is, or just think about it as 230 if you like, in terms of actually seeing some movement. But where we are right now is obviously asking a couple of questions. Now there is a slight difference in the price in terms of 3 decimal places in, but we're not seeing a massive stretch apart in terms of the ETHBTC prices. This is something we used to talk about for all the time on the channel. If we do want to look at this trend that we had here, where we do see, because the prices are slightly different kind of price points for things, that the 236 is coming in at 236, and then this line here at, what was that again, 257 being key towards the top side. Yeah, overall moving up the way, we've got that key support line. I've got it drawn in fairly black and white on which one is it? This one here. This is what we're looking to, and whether or not we can stay above it. If we can't, then maybe we need to refresh our senses, go up towards a bigger time frame, kind of clear away everything off the chart, and remind ourselves that what we were seeing here is of course a big uptrend. We are putting lows here overall, that anything not taking out these lows at the minute is good. If this is a sort of shoulder, or a shoulder here, a head here, a shoulder here comes in and forms, and we stick around the $2 area, then bust past previous areas in terms of the 240s and the 250s that we spoke about, just looking at where the wicks are, bearing in mind that head and shoulders and everything else are going to be looking on different time frames at different, maybe this is like looking here and finding key support at 265 to push past. We can see how that would work in terms of wicks. So just looking towards those areas and saying movements up there, maybe you see an inverse head and shoulders play out across the broader term time frame, going back onto the 24-hour time frame and measuring back the way in terms of the distance that we've got here. That's a 75-day sort of 100-day effort, so it certainly would span out in terms of the longer term storyline for this thing if we do want to look towards that as the futures. And that's going to be quite positive, but that is in terms of the positive case scenario moving up past 250. Negative case scenario is going to have the same thing on there with 2 points. First off, of course, the $2 up to 210, and then of course $1.80 being your sort of Alamo for positivity on this one. Thanks very much, by the way, for people who are chilling along here watching the TA, and we've got Etienne as well as ever, who's just said to me, nice daily TA on Link USD. Rocky, thank you for your work. Thank you as well for tuning in here. It's all forming part of this community. It's great to have every single one of you on board. That brings us to the end of the Tezos look that we're doing. Really, we can now dive down towards a smaller time frame and see if there's anything that's worth bearing in mind in terms of the overlooking. Not overlooking things. Is this a descending triangle that we have here? Worth looking at the way we sprung back up during these points where we could be buying. We're not seeing hidden bullish divergence here or anything like that. We're not managing to take out these previous highs. We want to be looking towards this to see if we get the upward side movement, and of course the key support area coming in at that 22222 area in terms of breaking down past this. Now it is a zone, and we're going to call it down to 215 in terms of movements, but you've got this blue area there on the ADX. We've got a strength of trend, but it's burning off in terms of the 1 hour. What are we looking like in 15-minute chart? Okay, so yeah, we really need to see a turnaround here, and it's definitely primed in terms of the potential for oversold, overbought, oversold type conditions there on that one, but not very, very, very good. And we've got this head and shoulders here with it. So in the normal sense, in terms in terms of the 24-hour time frame in this section just here, if you're looking at this overall, as an inverse, but over the last 100 days, that's interesting. But in terms of this section just here, you've got this just regular head and shoulders potential with that white line giving you your neckline and the downward side targets. All good rebuys until such times as we take out this green mark here coming in at the 185 zone. Cool, that's us done for that one. So nice one. Going back over to the chit chat, and we have a timestamp for us of roughly, what we're talking here, 52 mins. 52 mins chit chat, and then I'll tell you what, we'll only be here for 30 seconds anyway, so actually 53 mins is VET, because I saw my man Trade Spotting saying that he was going to want to look at VET in the show. I think I caught that at the corner of my eye earlier on. So also, Zoner said, can you have a look at the BTC weekly RSI double topping thoughts? So we can do that now in the final 15 seconds before diving over to look at VET. BTC RSI weekly time frame, double topping. You're talking about compared to over here? Are you talking about, no, you're talking about these two, the wee cat ears that we have on the go here. So in terms of the cat ears, yeah, cool, little double top, sure. They're just cat ears though. I mean, let's look at the perspective on things. But sure, it's there, it's definitely there. What we were also seeing, if I hide all the drawings off here, is that this came in higher and this was lower. So you're looking, if you're gonna make some sort of comparison along the way in terms of divergence, well then you're seeing it there as well as being a possibility. And what I think about it as well is that I think that it translates quite hefty into hefty divergence as you go down the time frames, as you keep an eye on that slope towards the downside there on the RSI, quite grotesquely all the way down. So that's what I think about this in terms of this one. And of course, it's giving you this doubly top area, gives you this the potential for divergence. We're obviously past the really tiny swing failure point, but with a lot of the week to go, having only just started this one, so I'd say you're too early to say there. But if you're looking at it from that point of view, then that's your swing failure point. That's obviously far too harsh. Looking really instead back towards the lows, and it's a massive distance away. We're seeing something's happened in terms of the channel. TradeSpotting donated 887. Rocky, thanks for all you do on Tezos. Can you also take a look at VET? Wow, thanks so much for donating the Tezos. That means what TradeSpotting's done there is he's opened up the comments or the description section down below and found that donation thing there. By the way, thanks so much for that. That's quality, and you've got your name on screen down there. Just check it out, TradeSpotting. So that's quality. You and Smurfy Murphy taking up the famous spots there below the video. Thank you so much for that. It's quality to have that donation. Really do appreciate it. Right, cool. Okay, yeah, so that's what I think about it. We're looking for swing failures. In terms of this one, if we move down below that point there, then obviously that is your big term swing failure. But we're moving on to VET now, and I'm going to take this in properly. It'll be 55 minutes. So 55 minutes, we're looking at VET. 55 mins VET, TY TradeSpotting. For that one, cool. So let's move on to VET USDT, I think, is what we're going to want to look at first off. And I imagine I've probably got some old stuff on the charts from the past here, although it's not showing me anything just now. I wonder if I also have VET